today's show, the team behind the team. We go inside the coach's box.
How Bryce Gibbs has coped with his toughest year.
And King of the Kids, Big Kyle's helping hand.
Hi everyone and welcome to The Crows Show, brought to you by Optus. I'm Mark Pickley.
And I'm Alana Smith, and Mark, as clubs push towards the finals, pressure builds in the coach's box.
Sure does, and game plans, tactics, they become crucial, and there's certainly no shortage of advice, statistics and data to help them make those vital decisions.
But how do coaches cope with this huge volume of information?
When Channel 7 highlighted a crowded Essendon box, Brian Taylor's curiosity raised many questions.
This is how many computer screens they've got in there. Have a look at this. Bang, bang, bang. 19 in that box, right? That's 19 there.
As for the Crows, there are 3 analysts, one for each of the line coaches, and the other, Jared Harkness, who reviews, then monitors the opposition's game plan.
So if we're going to make a change during the game, we want to be able to feel like we have all the information available and we're making a change for a purpose, not just because, we feel like it's the right thing to do.
Jared started at the Lions in 2007 and was, for many years, the club's only analyst. He says a coach's instincts need to be balanced with accurate data.
Coaches can sometimes be subjective. They've in most cases played the game. They can rely a little bit more on gut feel, where it's our role to be factual.
Most of it, the line coaches is more based on the educated eye and watching the game. Those guys are there to help us with decision-making process to make sure that the gut feel does line up with what we're seeing.
Analysts identify trends in the game and together with line coaches advise Don Pike, who has the final say.
We can have discussions about any changes that we want to make and how we think that would affect the game. And then, from there, it ultimately comes down to his decision as to whether we're going to make those changes or not.
They're there to help us gathering the information so we can keep an eye on the game, and as part of the line coach's role to help educate them so they're on the same page. But essentially it's up to the line coach, and then ultimately, Don will make the final decision on anything structurally or strategy-wise.
Even when coaches are under pressure to make moves, Jared says it's more important their decisions are correct than quick.
Just because the scoreboard says one thing doesn't mean we're going to rush and make a heap of changes. So we're trying to get a feel for the balance of the game. We're trying to get a feel for where the opposition's scoring from, where are they getting their inside 50s from, where their field position's coming from.
Well, Mark, you can speak from coaching experience. Can you explain how coaches use all that data?
Yeah, sure. Look, it's used firstly as an evidence-based tool, so you might have a feeling that the game's going one way, so the coach will be asking, do the stats, does the data support that? And the other one that I think they're hoping to get out of it is that sometimes the data can pick up a slight change in momentum where it hasn't impacted on the scoreboard yet, but it's just the game starting to turn. So if you can find the correct stats to give you that information, that can become very, very handy.
Indeed, but can so much information become overwhelming?
It can, but that's the challenge for the way that you handle the coach's box. You don't want lots of stuff going on at the moment, and generally people would be surprised how quiet it is in there. So it's a matter of understanding what stats are important, and when those stats are, do come up, that they're passed on efficiently to the coach.
So once the coach has all the relevant information, how's that then translated to the players?
Well, one of the really effective things is happening these days is the analysts are cutting up the vision on the computers, and they're actually showing it to the players during the break, so they get a really clear picture of what it is that they're looking to improve.
Well, would you say that too much is being asked of players in today's game to absorb so much information in the heat of the game?
Well, that's the challenge for the coaches. I think they have to act as a funnel and decide what it is they actually pass on to the players, because you're right, dumping a whole mountain of statistics onto a player during a game doesn't achieve a whole lot.
All right, well, thanks very much, Mark. What about yourself? You've quite passionate talking about the topic. Do you miss being in the coach's box?
Certainly miss the cut and thrust of the coach's box, but not so much the 40 or 50 hours outside doing a lot of the less glamorous stuff. So I'm very comfortable in this chair.
Thanks, Mark. We love having you. Well, a large number of players across the AFL devote many hours to assisting the less fortunate in the community. And Kyle Hartigan is the players' representative on the Crows Children's Foundation, which helps provide food for more than 10,000 children through the Kickstart for Kids campaign. With the support of Revolution Roofing, Kyle talks about his role as a club ambassador. Helping needy children is a cause very close to Kyle's heart. In appreciation of his tireless work, the club last year nominated him for the AFL's Jim Steins Award.
The AFL and the Jim Steins Foundation are proud to present the Jim Steins Community Leadership Award, which acknowledges and celebrates AFL players who volunteer to do selfless and valued work within the community.
It's a really rewarding experience for me to see where that money goes and see all these kids getting helped that need it most.
In 15 years, the Crows Children's Foundation has raised more than $1.5 million. One of the charities to benefit is Kickstart for Kids, which helps provide children with food and clothing.
All the different charities we've supported are all great charities, but the work that they do is outstanding. So yeah, that just makes me happy that I'm doing something to good in the community to put a smile on these kids that aren't as fortunate as I am.
At the end though, Hartigan wins the day and wins it well, and the fans love it down there.
If the Crows season extends well into the finals, Kyle will have even more reason to be excited. He and his wife Emily are expecting their first baby in late September.
Don't really know much about having a baby, so I'm sure I'll learn a fair bit in the coming months, but it's a little bit daunting but very exciting. Just hoping for a nice healthy little baby.
And the importance of that is something Kyle appreciates only too well.
To Kyle and all your teammates, keep up the good work. Still to come on The Crows Show, Bryce Gibbs opens up on his challenging year.
Well, the Crows have just 2 more home games this season, a Saturday night clash against the Saints in 2 weeks and Collingwood a fortnight later. To buy a ticket, simply go to ticketek.com.au. Well, when Tom Duday's season ended in round 1, Brodie Smith must have wondered who would join him in bolstering the team's defence. Step forward, Alex Keith, cricketer turned footballer who settled in seamlessly alongside Smithers. So you'd expect the pair to have become quite close. With the help of Thomas Farms, let's find out.
This week we're joined by Alex Keith. That's how much I know about Keithy.
Brodie, start nice and basic. Where am I from?
Victoria.
A bit more specific than that, please.
Melbourne.
No. Okay, question number 2. What's my dog's name?
George.
That's my second dog. What about the first one?
I don't know. What was its name?
Another fail.
Do you even know?
Another fail. Okay, what's my highest score in cricket?
15. What is it?
246. And what's my favourite food?
Oh, gee. How long's the list?
Brodie thinks that I eat a lot, but he's a closet big tooth.
It would be something with carbs, rice.
So let's narrow it down a bit.
Chicken and rice.
Yeah, all right, that'll do. Well done.
Bit to work on there for those two. Now, when Don Pike lived in Perth, he was a club champion golfer playing off scratch. So it's not surprising that he's unbeaten this season in our Optus Par 3 Challenge at Glenelg. Let's check out who's the latest to take him on.
Welcome back to Glenelg Golf Club here, joined today for the Optus Par 3 Challenge by the General Manager of the Adelaide Bite, Nathan Davidson. Welcome along, Nathan.
Great to be here, albeit freezing.
Bit cold today, bit of a strong wind.
It is.
We'll get on the golf in a minute. Your golfing background, you play a bit?
Not anymore, but when I grew up I did play a lot, particularly down here. I only live around the corner, so had a great time out here as I grew up.
So now, Nathan, how's the league seen? Like, obviously, the Crows came on board last year in terms of the ownership side of it.
Yeah, so there's not too many options when in the winter. We're starting to climb that ladder of the standard that we have there, the players that are coming into it with the agent influence and that kind of thing. So as the standard of the players we're recruiting to put in our teams gets higher, then the standard of the competition, the standing of the competition gets higher as well.
Good. All right, well, let's go and finish this hole off.
Uh-oh. Sit down.
Settle.
Sit down. Uh-oh.
That one didn't exactly rush up there. Here we go.
About a metre to the right.
Tightless one.
Yeah.
That'll go. It's a tightless. Sit.
Sit down.
Sit. Oh, look out. Look out. Whoa. No, just the wind grabbed it. Just took it off.
I normally give you that.
Right. You guess that, wouldn't you? Yeah, that's good. That's what we know.
Finally.
Finish it. All right, no,
Well
thanks
played.
for joining me,
No
and all the best for the season. I hope the roster comes together well, and look forward to getting a couple of bite games this year.
Well, the Bite, now owned by the Crows, launched their new season in November, and we wish Nathan and his team all the very best. Stay with us. Shortly, Bryce Gibbs and the former Crow, whose wait for a premiership lasted longer than his career.
When Bryce Gibbs moved to Adelaide last year, he came with a huge reputation and proved to be a valuable cog in the Crows' midfield. But the form he showed in 2018 has largely eluded him this season, and he's been dropped 4 times to the sandful. For the former Carlton club champion, it's the most testing time of his career.
Obviously feel for him. I would have loved to have seen him go out there and dominate the way he has previously. He's obviously in a bit of a tough patch at the moment with his form.
He had a man on over the top. Didn't need him though. Bryce Gibbs with a great finish.
Yeah, it has been a bit of a different year for me. One that it's thrown a lot of challenges and a bit of learning as well. But one I'm still trying to keep as positive as I can and looking forward to getting back in the side. From the way I've sort of attacked it is to just try to seek as much clarity as I can from the match committee and what they need from me. You can have some challenging conversations around selection, and they're important conversations to have, and once you have those conversations, as I said, I can go away with a strong plan and try and implement that as best as I can.
Steadying now is Gibbs on his return, and he nails the goal.
Not so much a learning, but what I've really enjoyed is spending a lot more time with the younger guys, getting to know them better as people, but also helping them work on their game and the areas that they're trying to improve in as well, and trying to help these guys find their feet and try and help them navigate through the ranks to play AFL. And put on a feed from the other night for the State of Origin, and we had a good night.
Back to Gibbs, does he do it again? He does. He's got 2. He's having an impact.
I'm sure there's more footy to come at AFL level for Bryce Gibbs. Now, former captain Nathan Van Berlo spent 12 years with Adelaide striving for an elusive premiership. Success finally came when he returned to Perth and joined West Coast as an assistant coach last season. Thanks to Flight Centre, Nathan recalls his Crows career of 205 games.
He's one that needs to find the footy again. Oh, Van Berlo! Threads the needle!
My fondest memories at the club definitely involve my playing days in terms of the relationships that I made with some of the boys. And what stands out most is some of the wins that you have along the way, particularly the final series.
And well played by the new skipper Van Berlo.
Perth is very similar to Adelaide in the sense that it's a 2-team town, very patriotic about their teams, love their footy, and they get behind both teams. So I've seen that transition from Adelaide to Perth very similar in that sense. My current role at West Coast is I'm coaching the midfield. Last year was my first year over here in the West, and I was in charge of stoppages and structures. So prior to that, I was in Adelaide doing a development role, working with the forwards. So I've had a mixed journey with my 3 years in coaching, but really enjoying where I'm at the moment.
Now, a few weeks ago, the Advertiser's Rhys was critical of the mid-season draft, particularly because of the impact on SANFL clubs losing valuable players. Well, it seems he's had a change of heart.
At the time of the AFL's mid-season rookie draft, I was very critical of the concept, believing that it showed the state league clubs very little respect. My two major concerns were that AFL clubs were going to use the draft to stockpile talent and had no intention of playing the players that they were picking up. But 6 weeks on, I'm now satisfied that the mid-season rookie draft is being used for the right reasons. And we've seen 3 cases in the last 2 weeks that prove that. At Melbourne, Kyle Dunkley has played consecutive games, albeit the Demons season is over. But at Port Adelaide, they're fighting for a final spot and they saw the need to play Cam Sutcliffe as a tagger against Brisbane last weekend. But the clincher for me was John Noble, a former speedy on-baller from West Adelaide taken by Collingwood and played in the huge game against West Coast in Perth last Friday night. Make no mistake, this was no junk time game, it was no charity appearance. Collingwood, going up against the reigning premier, under pressure, needing to turn their season around, played Noble and he didn't look out of place at all. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if John Noble plays a key role in Collingwood's run to finals, and from there, who knows?
Thanks, Rhys. When Alana returns, we catch up with a top player and a champion bloke.
Well, few players can match the longevity of Andy Otten. From the team in which he debuted in 2008, only 2 others are still in Crows colours, David McKay and Richard Douglas. But because of multiple injuries, Andy has been restricted to just over 100 AFL games. Thanks to Toyota Good for Footy, he looks back on his junior days with the Whitehorse Colts in suburban Melbourne before becoming a handy basketballer, coincidentally alongside D-Mac.
Crouch was slick, got it across to Otten on the siren, and the buzzer beater from the Crows to extend their lead.
My junior team was Whitehorse Colts Junior Football Club, so they were just a local club. Pretty much my whole school year level played there as well, and all my brothers, so yeah, grew up playing there. So I started there, played about 150 junior games, had old man was coaching me as well the first few years. Then went through, made some league teams, and then made the Oakley Chargers 16 squad. From there, made a few state squads into this 18 state team, and got drafted from there and played school footy as well as that. When I got to Oakley, got to play with Dave McKay. Robbie Gray was in that team, Todd Goldstein, and Nick Smith from Sydney. So we won the premiership as well. We had a pretty good side, so that was good fun. Yeah, Dave and I, we played basketball together from under 8s all the way through to under 16s together. So we've been childhood friends and known each other for years. My old man coached a little bit there as well. So me and Dave known each other for years and years.
Well, the 2019 Toyota Good for Footy raffle aims to raise $1 million for grassroots clubs across Australia. Do your part to support local footy and buy a ticket. Go to toyota.com.au/AFL raffle and help raise some serious cash for local clubs. And Toyota also rewards our Crow in the Crowd each week. This season, we've been spotting some lucky fans at Adelaide Oval, and that's where our camera found you. If you recognise yourself, contact the club by 5 p.m. next Wednesday. Have some photo ID handy and a merchandise pack will be yours.
That just about wraps up today's show, brought to you by Optus.
Now next week, what could have been the SANFL player who slipped through the Crows' net.
Remember to keep an eye on @TheCrows Show on Twitter for all the latest news, and also to check out the club's social media accounts, Facebook and Instagram.
Well, thanks for your company today, and we look forward to joining you again next Sunday
at 11:30 on 7. We'll see you then.
Bye for now.